Okay, in this next short lecture, we are going to talk about energy production and cholesterol medications because a large percentage of the population is taking some sort of anti-lipidemic medication like Lipitor, Crestor, Simvastatin, Arvastatin. These statins could be very, very dangerous for people, and I want to show you why that is. Let's just review. Glycolysis is the initial step of producing energy, and that's because you're taking sugar or a 6-carbon sugar, glucose, and you're breaking it into pyruvic acid. That initial step of glycolysis does not take place in the mitochondria, it takes place in the cytosol. If oxygen is available, pyruvate or pyruvic acid can enter the mitochondria and it gets broken down into other things and enters the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is very dependent on your B vitamins, especially B1, B2, and B3. B1, B2, B3. B1 is thiamine, B2 is riboflavin, and B3 is niacin. So it needs these 3 B vitamins and others. It needs lipoic acid as well. And the byproduct of the Krebs cycle, it's going to produce coenzymes. These coenzymes are called NAD, NADH, and FADH, FADH. These coenzymes are going to be used by the ETC, called the electron transport chain. Electron transport chain is going to make lots of ATP. The Krebs cycle can make some ATP, but not too much. Glycolysis, some ATP, not too much. Okay. The byproduct of glycolysis enters the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle byproduct is NAD and FAD that enters the electron transport chain. The other byproduct of the Krebs cycle is carbon dioxide, and that's why we breathe in oxygen and we exhale CO2. It's because of cellular respiration that we have respiration, right? Inhale oxygen, push out CO2. We said that the electron transport chain needs iron and CoQ10. CoQ10 and iron are really needed for the mitochondria to produce a good amount of ATP. So what happens in cholesterol synthesis? When the body makes cholesterol, it goes from acetyl-CoA to HMG-CoA, and then HMG-CoA is acted upon by HMG-CoA reductase. Remember, anything that ends in ACE is an enzyme. This enzyme converts HMG-CoA into mevalonate, and then just look at this whole pathway: mevalonate to pharenzyl pyrophosphate to squalene, and then to cholesterol. All right, but you don't only make cholesterol. This pathway is needed to make CoQ10. What is CoQ10 needed for? Energy production, and it's an antioxidant. We need we need iron, and we need coenzyme Q10 in order to make energy. So now, if you look at the cholesterol pathway, the same pathway just doesn't make cholesterol, it makes CoQ10. So now you have this individual that's taking a statin drug like Simvastatin, Lipitor, Crestor, Arvastatin, Simvastatin. The statin is going to block that enzyme that converts HMG-CoA into mevalonate. If you block this enzyme, then you cannot produce cholesterol. And if you can't produce cholesterol, you can't make CoQ10 or dilacol. Now, if you can't make CoQ10, what's going to happen to energy production? It's going to go down. Where do we have the most mitochondria? You have the most mitochondria where you have muscles. So muscles cry in pain. You ever hear of fibromyalgia? When you look at the word myalgia, my is muscle, and algia means pain. If you have neuralgia, you have nerve pain. If you have myalgia, it's muscle pain. If you have arthralgia, arth is joint pain. So now you have mitochondria that are dysfunctional. You have lots of mitochondria in the heart. You have lots of mitochondria in skeletal muscle, lots of mitochondria in the nervous system, in the brain. It's no wonder why when we look at the black box warnings on statins, they talk about dementia-like symptoms or cognitive decline. Because if you can't make CoQ10, then mitochondria start to malfunction and you have lots of mitochondria in the brain. It's no wonder one of the warnings for statins is myalgias, muscle aches. And the problem is if you don't produce enough cholesterol, what do you have to produce myelin? Myelin surrounds your nerves. If you don't have enough cholesterol, how do you make sex hormones? Where do you think testosterone comes from? Progesterone, estrogen. You need cholesterol because those are cholesterol-based hormones, your sex hormones. So there's a lot of problems that take place, and that's why if men are using cholesterol medication, shortly after they end up with ED, with erectile dysfunction, and then they use Viagra. And the companies work together. If they make the cholesterol drug, they also make Viagra to compensate. Okay, so anyway, this gives you a little bit of an understanding, and this is why it's really important when we talk about drug-induced nutrient depletions. They're called DINs, drug-induced nutrient depletions. When my patients come in and I look at their patient intake form and I see that they're on a cholesterol medication, the first thing I do is I get them on CoQ10. None of them are on it, and they really need to be made aware of this. So coenzyme Q10 is essential. Most people take statins at night because the cholesterol is produced by the liver at night. They take it in the evening. But CoQ10 should not be taken at night. It's taken in the morning because that's when you need your energy. You don't want energy at nighttime when you're sleeping. You want energy in the morning. Okay, so a drug-induced nutrient depletion, the biggie associated with statins, it depletes CoQ10. So why not replenish it?